We are now at the San Xavier Mission. And out front, we're going to have dinner, I think, with the natives cooking their native dishes.
It says no photos during mass, just so you know. I think cover that too again.
Adonasha told two different newspaper reporters that her grandfather, Juan Santa Cruz, who I showed you the genealogy last night, was an apprentice. And he helped paint these paintings here. Now the master artist, there's 29 of them that came and did the sculpturing. That's not wood, that's stone. They sculptured out of stone, and they did the painting. But as an apprentice, he got to help paint all of this. So when Adonasha came here for her 50th wedding anniversary, she and Sam came right up here, and they were married right there by a Catholic priest.
On the 50th?
On the 50th wedding anniversary. And on the 50th wedding anniversary, she went back to the Hughes house there in Tucson and said, the paintings have all become a little bit dimmer than when I was here 50 years ago, because my grandfather helped paint these. Okay? So you're looking at the work of master artisans, 29 of them in about 1797. Okay? And these are the so Juan helped them paint these. And after they left and went back to Mexico City, okay, then according to Adonasha, commission, that door right there goes into the sacristy where the priest does the sacrament. He gets the sacrament ready, and he will allow us to go in. If we go around the back way, he'll meet me at the back gate and let us in. We can go see that. Okay, that we know he painted this for sure. He helped paint this. We think that we're pretty sure that he painted that one in there by himself after the artisans left. And this pretty one up here in the choir loft. Santa Cruz helped paint this. Okay, my grandfather, Juan Santa Cruz, helped paint this, and then after they left, he painted that sacristy in there. That's not Adonasha. That's what the people have helped me, review the art by the paint and by, there's people that look at art and can tell who painted what.
This is the interior courtyard.
Exactly what Adonasha said. Okay? I have the quote from Adonasha that said, when she came out here, there's two of them. When she and Sam came out here on their 50th, close that door so we can talk. When they came out here for their 50th wedding anniversary, okay? So take 1862 plus 50, whatever that was. Okay, that's when they came out here. And she said that she was describing to the newspaper reporter what it was like when she got married 50 years earlier. And she said that she and Sam came over the main threshold, and that they were married at the main altar. So the main church is right behind you there. We just walked around, right? Okay? So that's the altar, and that's the main door that they came in and got married. Adonasha had it was a compromise. Remember, Sam was a non-religionist, or he was Church of England, Church of Wales. Okay, and So because she was a devout Catholic, in those days, the Catholic priest said that if you were marrying outside of the faith, if your partner would not convert, that you could not be married in the main chapel. And you had to be married in black. Okay? Well, what they did was Sam being an Anglo, and all other Anglos too, William Murray and a lot of others, okay? Sam being an Anglo, the Catholic Church was very much aware that the Anglos were in charge of the economy of this whole area. And so they compromised and said, yes, you're welcome to be married in the main cathedral, and not one of the two ancillary. Right now, the little prayer areas with the candles. According to the Father Ken McCarty, I showed you his picture right here. Remember, standing right here, not yesterday, in front of this mural.
Oh, man.
According to him, what they did was they compromised, and they allowed them to be married in the main chapel. Okay, but the other side of the coin was she had to wear black because she was marrying a non-Catholic. But for Adamasha, that was fine, because many Spaniards got married in black because marriage was as solemn as any ordinance that there is. And they even compared it with the final Catholic rite of death. Okay? Remember in Catholicism, if you die and you've not been blessed on your deathbed, then if you're a child, you go to limbo, and if you're an adult, then you go to a place called Hades. And so death is very serious to Catholics. And so the Catholics in Spain compared that with marriage, and all of their ordinances were very, very serious. So the compromise that they made, Adamasha had to wear black, and we have her description in her words of her Spanish outfit in black. Okay? But they were made in that main cathedral. She then, when they got back to the Sam Hughes house that we were at yesterday, when she was being interviewed, she told the newspaper reporter, she said, I was a little disappointed because when my grandfather painted the paintings out there in the main chapel, that they were very bright. And she said they dimmed with time. Okay? And so what she had done was, remember Juan Santa Cruz, his father was Modesto Olario, and we just came from Tubac and Tumacocari, where they raised their family and had their kids baptized. Juan Santa Cruz, who painted this, and who painted out there to help the artisans, okay? He was baptized at Tumacocari. I have the record, the original Catholic record from Father McCarty. So that's where he was baptized. Pretty cool stuff. 200 years ago. Okay, so what you have to know then is he helped the artisans out there as an apprentice. So much of the painting out there he helped to do. But, you know, the outlines of the saints and all that kind of stuff was done by the original artist. Adamasha clarified that. She said, in another newspaper article I have, she said that her grandfather had helped to paint the faces and the images of the saints. So he did more than just do border type stuff out there. She said that he actually helped paint the saints that are on those murals and on the walls out there. That much we know. He helped paint those. Then we asked, well, did he help also paint the sculptures that are out there? And nobody knows who painted those sculptures. In the little life history I sent you, okay, on Adamasha, it tries to explain this. Maybe not very well, but I tried to explain it. So all those statues, we don't know who painted those. Okay? The artisans were here in 1797 for 2 years. And when they left, Modesto, being a Spaniard, Juan Santa Cruz, and that's his grandfather being a Spaniard, he still had to paint. And they left everything with him because they were hoping that others, you know, let me just back up a little bit. There are other Catholic churches in this area where the artisans came in and painted 2 or 3, not like here where there's dozens out there, murals and paintings, you know. And then when they left to paint with the indigent people, and then they would paint lines or they would paint circles or whatever on the walls of the church, of the main cathedral. That was a common practice. And because Juan Santa Cruz was Spanish, and he was pure-blood Spanish, both his mother and father were Spanish from Spain, okay? According to family history now, not Adamasha, the paints were left with him, and he was allowed to paint otherwise. So 20, 30 years ago, when I was doing all this research, I had Father Ken McCarty and another Catholic priest who knew artwork. They were art appraiser type guys. Father McCarty was actually the main historian, record keeper for all of the Catholic Church in this whole diocese. And I stood right here with him, and he was right here, and he pointed to this and said, this is probably the painting that Juan did after the artisans left with their wives and children. And so that's why this is perhaps not as perfectly done as the artisans that came up from Mexico City and did the ones out there. So our family believes that he helped out there, and that he did this one. And of course he ran out of paint before he got up there. Juan probably did the corners, okay? Then the Catholics told me that there's another one that's not as professional as this. This is not as professionally done as the main cathedral is. There's another one that's not as professionally done as this one, that maybe another apprentice did, or maybe Juan did first before he did this. And that's the choir loft. When you came all the way to the front when they were married, you turn around and look, you see the choir loft with the blue, with the two angels, one of them reaching out. You can look right up there, and we don't know. That one is doubtful whether Sam painted that one or not. I mean, whether Juan painted that one or not. We're very secure thinking that Juan painted this. We know he helped paint that there, because Adam actually told us twice he helped paint the faces and the figures of the saints. And as she was getting married, she looked and said, my grandfather helped paint this. Okay? And so you may want to go back around. Actually, it's probably better to a lot faster if you will let us. But you could go back around and then just enjoy the church for a minute, and then look around and look back and see the painting. It used to be called the choir loft. After we go up there, I told you in my little life history that they wouldn't let me go up there 20 years ago. They wouldn't let me go up there. And I just asked if he would let me go up there again, and he said no one can go up there. So all you can do is, look, if you come all the way up to the altar and turn around, you can see that big beautiful painting on the choir loft at the back of the church, right above the main door where San Ignacio came in. Okay? This is probably Juan Santa Cruz, which would be, some of you are, you're probably 12 or 13 generations. She's probably 13 generations from Juan Santa Cruz. So her 12th great-grandfather painted this right here. Okay? So this is it right here. If you want to take your pictures, and this has not been restored. This is kind of faded like Ananash had said it was. Now, a couple of years ago, they began to restore all of the main articles out there. And I just asked the guy, and he said that the main chapel paintings have all been restored. They brought in some artisans, and they showed them how to use toothbrushes and Q-tips and clean off the paint without ruining the paint. So this is probably brighter paint than Adonasha saw. Adonasha saw it when it was kind of dull like this, all the paintings that were out there that Juan helped paint. Okay? So you will see them a little bit brighter today than Adonasha did, except for the one in the choir loft. And the guy said that they have not been able to restore the choir loft paint. And we don't know if that's him or not, okay, whether that was Juan's or not. But you can look back there and see that painting in the back. Okay? So this is Juan, and that's Juan out there who helped paint the main saints. And then I can't get you in there because I'm not a Catholic priest here, but if you got the book on Xavier, it shows the door of one of the artisans that put Pedro Borges. He carved it in the wood. And if I can find a priest, I can let you in over there. Okay? They won't let us in there because this is semi-tourist. That's all tourist. But where that is really churchy stuff. Okay? And
we have a picture in that Borges book that Henry Borges gave us to see. A picture of that door with the engraving is in that. I'll have it tonight. You can see it.
Or in the little gift shop, you can buy it. It'll show the picture in there. But yes, know about that is Armando and Juan and Almada and I and Jim, what's his last name, the professor at U of A. We tried for many, many years to try to find out who that Pedro Borges was. Because Adonasha's grandmother was Manuela Borges, her grandmother. And so we thought maybe it was the Borgeses that came up from Spain in 1797 and did this painting and stayed, because that happens sometimes. Okay? But we were able to find the families going back and back and back. So they did not come in, okay? So that Pedro Bohorquez is not ours. We have no Pedro Bohorquezes, neither do the Bohorquez family have any Pedro Bohorquezes in 1797. And the guy put his name in there and the date. And so he was the guy that came up with the artisans. He was probably an artisan and helped build. Remember, the artisans had to build doors. They didn't know how to build doors. So he probably built the doors to this place, including that door. And that's why you can't go there, because it's an original. It's an original door. Okay? But if I can get in over there, I can show that to you. If you ever come up here on your own, a large group, they probably won't say, if you come up here on your own sometime and get a Catholic priest, they really give you the first-class treatment. Especially what you say, my 11th great-grandfather was Juan Santa Cruz, and we think maybe he painted this. And Adonasha said, immediately, you are royalty. They will shuffle you around all over the place. And back at Tumacaca, we found Adonasha's name twice in 2 different books while I was back there. I just looked at the index. So Adonasha's all over the place. She's kind of a movie star. She was the movie star to them, like my grandma and others of you are movie stars to us. Okay? So you probably won't get back in here again. This is the painting. Take a good look. Bring your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids. Okay? And then just go back out to the chapel and just enjoy the chapel. It's a beautiful place. And look at the paintings. Juan helped paint them. And he said, particularly the faces and the images of the saints. That's a quote. That's Juan helped paint. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. Okay, let's go on out now.
That's all right.
That's it. Your ancestors. Yeah, reach it.
Maggie, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you doing, John?
Doing well.
Good.
Let's get another one. You're off.
He'll wait before his check. He's done. He's coming. He's done. I want to point out that door right over there. This is the courtyard. And that room right there was Dr. Kiernan McCarty's library and his office. And that is where he helped me find our Bohorquez line. That is where the Bohorquez line was found, that you see on the pedigree chart. In that office right there, 3 different visits. He would find stuff, I would come back, he'd share, he'd find stuff, I'd come back, he'd share. That's where the Bohorquez line came from, right there. That's where we got the information from the Catholic Church. We are standing at the Xavier Mission, and that's the little hill next to the Xavier Mission. Adonijah said that when she was a very young child, 9, 10, 11 years old, that would have been in about 1858, 1859, that the Catholic priest would take them up that little path right there. Those lions obviously were not there then. Would take them up that little path, and she remembered very distinctly how she would get dressed in the white manta type material that was so common here and so common in Mexico, and how they would take some of the flowers off of some of the cactus, and they would carry signs or banners. It was only little girls. There was no little boys and no men or women. It was only the little girls, and they would go up to the top of there as a dedication for that particular saint's day. It's in the life history, whatever the saint's day is. And that's the hill that Adonijah walked up in 1858, from say 1854 to about 1858. That's the hill that she walked up right there as a little girl, and in celebration of the Catholic rites. And that's one reason why, because her grandfather helped paint the murals in here, and she was so involved with the Catholic rites. That's why throughout her life she was an extremely devout Catholic, and even at her death she chose to be buried not next to Sam, but to be buried in the Catholic cemetery. Catholicism was everything to Adonijah, and that's the hill she walked up right there.
Such a